Okay, time to make challenge number 7 work. Each of you has a file with a whole bunch of gibberish. This is a very small example of what might be in your file. Your mission is to scan the entire file looking for just the numerical bits and count up how many numbers you find in your file. So in this example, looks like the answer should be 9 because you're going to find a 1, a 7, a 6, a 5, a 7, a 1, and a 1, and this is key. Make sure you don't treat that like a 711. That would make the challenge way harder. So that's a 7, a 1, and a 1, and a 0 and a 1. So you've got 9 different digits inside of that tiny example. Much bigger example here. Here's what Mackenzie's file looks like. It is, I don't even know, 3,000 or so just gibberish characters, and you have to scan the whole thing to see how many numbers are in there. So, this is what you're going to do.
Today codes is spaghetti.
Whip up a pretty GUI after making sure your file is in the debug folder where it should be. And this looks a little different than the other challenges because I don't need an array list. That's kind of the only difference. It's just one gigantic string in your file. It's not like a list of things that you need to pull in that are you're gonna process independently. It's just one gigantic nonsense string. So I don't need an array list. And I didn't bother making a window loaded event handler either. It's not a very robust program. I'm just gonna slap everything in the button click. Even the try catch. So I am gonna, let's just start in the middle here. I'm going to make a stream reader that's going to point straight at Mackenzie's gibberish file, and as long as the try works, if I can find that file, I will initialize gibberish to just be the one and only line found in the file. There's no reason to make this a loop because it's only going to find one line. That's what makes it a little bit different than the other files. This doesn't have a whole bunch of different lines of information, just one giant line. I know it looks like it's a bunch of lines, but it's really just spilling over to the next line. You can tell that when it collapses as you expand and condense the window here. If I were able to make it long enough, you'd see it all just shows up on one gigantic line. Anyway, read the one and only line and put that gigantic 3,000, 4,000 character line into gibberish, which I declared earlier, and that's it. Your try catch is done. Now I'm going to loop through that entire gibberish line and look at one character at a time using substring. So this is similar. I'm using a similar technique to when I looked for vowels. I made a string that just has the digits in it. And if that nums string contains the one character I'm looking at one at a time, gibberish.substring I1 is going to look at one character at a time in my gibberish string. If that character is inside of that string, increment your counter. Loop, 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 loop. You're done. Give me an answer, and that should work. Mackenzie was the first one done yesterday, so let's see if we get her answer. I think it was 7:58. Boom, 7:58. So that's that. Go ahead and steal my code, make it work. A bunch of you guys still owe me an answer, so it's time to cheat. Just take my code, make it work for your file, and get me an answer so that I can get you credit. Cool? All right, talk to you guys soon.